Welcome everyone to this session on logical reasoning for Clat 2014. For Clat as well as of course other exams for law entrance. In this session we would be discussing the different types of questions that appear in logical reasoning sections of these papers, and we will discuss the right approach to solve these questions quickly as well as accurately. Ultimately, most of these exams have a very strict time limit. Therefore, of course, speed as well as accuracy both are equally important. Now, as we discuss the approaches, we will also look at some questions which have appeared in the past years in Clat paper, in various papers. For this reason, we have taken the Clat paper of 2012, and we will therefore be looking at the logical reasoning questions that had appeared in this particular paper. First, we would, as discussed, first we would look at the concepts, the approaches for these types of questions, and then we will take some of the questions that had appeared in this paper as examples to illustrate those concepts. Let us begin then. This is the first part of this session. Okay, over here on your screen in front of you, you can see a particular question. If you look at the instructions, if you notice the instructions, you can clearly see that there are six questions of this particular type in this particular set. Questions 111 to 116. In this same paper, out of the 50 questions of logical reasoning, there were actually, out of the 40 questions of logical reasoning, there were actually 3 more questions which were of the same type. In this type of question, statement arguments, you are given one statement which typically will be a question. You will be required to judge whether the arguments are important, whether the arguments are strong as far as this particular question is concerned. Typically, one of the arguments is in favor of the question, one of the arguments takes the positive stand, one of the arguments takes the negative stand, takes the opposite stand. As you can see over here, argument 1 takes the negative stand, opposes the idea, whereas argument 2 agrees with the idea, has taken the positive stand. Now, things to remember as far as this particular type of question is concerned: first and foremost, you are not required to take any stand of your own. You are not required to judge whether on this question you will agree with it or disagree with it. Therefore, both of the arguments may be strong. You are only required to assess whether the given arguments individually are direct and relevant as far as the given statement is concerned, as far as the given question is concerned. So just try to understand how the arguments are related to the given statement. If they are directly related and if they are very relevant, then yes, the arguments will be strong. On the other hand, if they are not directly linked, if they are weak, then the argument will be considered weak. So both arguments may be weak, both may be strong, or either one may be strong. All cases are possible. Now, as we discussed, in this type of question, the statement is often presented in the form of a question. 2 arguments are presented, hence it is very likely that one of the arguments will talk about the benefits. The argument which takes the positive stand is likely to talk about the benefits that will result from the idea that is being mentioned in the question. The other argument which opposes the idea presented is likely to talk about the harms, the damage that can be caused by this particular idea. This is a very common kind of argument. This is a very common factor that you will find in the given arguments. Now, when the argument talks about benefits, first of all, for the benefits to be direct and relevant, for the benefits to be meaningful, you need to assess whether the benefits are really strong. Also, you need to assess whether other approaches may also lead to similar benefits. If I find that the benefits that come to me from a particular approach are marginal, but there are major losses, and other approaches may also give the same kind of benefit, then this particular argument straight away will become weak will straight away imply that this argument is not strong. On the other hand, if the benefits are truly strong, if the benefits of some approach, some idea are truly strong, and other factors may or may not provide that benefit, but this particular benefit anyway is very strong, then it is that such an argument will definitely be considered to be a strong argument, a meaningful argument. Similarly, in the case of harms, in the case of losses, if the loss is high, then certainly that makes the argument quite strong. That would make the argument very meaningful. At the same time, you need to also assess whether the possible benefits are larger than the harms. If the harm is marginal and the benefits are far greater, then such an argument which mentions the harms may not be considered a strong argument. For example, if we look at this very question, the question that has been given over here, should the pay scale conditions of service be made applicable to private sector employees? No, this will develop inertia, inefficiency, would adversely affect spirit of competition. Now, inertia, inefficiency and adverse effect on spirit of competition, these are definitely very significant problems. These are definitely very significant issues. For any company, a company needs to be efficient, a company needs to be competitive. Private sector companies anyway have to make profits in order to survive. Hence, these harms are definitely significant. Therefore, the first argument here would be considered strong straight away. On the other hand, when I look at the second argument, this will enhance dedication to work and institutional loyalty. Is pay scale conditions of service the only thing that leads to dedication to work and institutional loyalty? Better HR policies, better man management, better relations with employees, these are the things which can anyway lead to this. Hence, changing the pay scale is not necessarily likely to enhance dedication to work and institutional loyalty. Other factors may also be there. Therefore, argument 1 will be considered strong, argument 2 will not be considered strong. The answer will be option A. Question 112, similar type, of course. Here again, two sides are presented. Yes, this will bring transparency and accountability. Should a strong institution of ombudsman be created? If there is oversight on any particular agency or organization, then that oversight is likely to bring transparency, accountability. So these benefits will definitely directly accrue if a strong institution is if a strong supervisory institution is created. Hence, option 1, argument 1 straight away becomes strong. Develop lack of initiative and flexibility in the administration. Just because there is a body supervising something, will it necessarily mean that you will have lack of initiative and flexibility? In fact, if you have better supervision, then maybe lack of initiative and flexibility will be hounded out of the organization. You will have more initiative, you will have better work because of the better supervision, the stronger supervision that is present. Hence, 2 is not likely to result. 2 is not does not directly is not directly linked to the given argument, to the given statement, and therefore 2 will be considered to be a weak argument. The answer again will be option A. Question 113. Now, as we discussed, this is one case where both the arguments would be considered strong. Should internal assessment in colleges and universities be abolished? Yes, this will eliminate the possibility of favoritism. When you have internal assessment, teachers will themselves correct papers of students, teachers who know the various students. Hence, questions of favoritism, issues of favoritism can very well arise. And therefore, argument 1 definitely is directly linked to the given statement. Teaching faculty will lose control over the students, and this would adversely affect their academic growth. The only purpose of colleges and universities is to provide academic growth, to provide good education to students. if removing internal assessment leads to losing control and adversely affects the quality of education, the academic growth that students are provided, then certainly this would be considered a very strong argument. Hence, over here, both 1 and 2 will be considered strong. Should military training be made compulsory for all college and university students? Yes, this will develop in them a sense of punctuality and discipline. If something like this happens, if military training can bring a sense of punctuality and discipline, that will help people all through their life. Hence, this is definitely a strong benefit. And other factors, other approaches may not exist which can provide such a benefit. Therefore, this is direct and relevant. Argument 1 is definitely strong. Military training should be given only to those students who are physically fit. Now, please note over here, the important part in this argument is military training. You are not talking about military should recruit only those who are physically fit. If we talk about recruitment in the military, then certainly the military should only recruit those who are physically fit. Nobody will question that. That would definitely be considered a strong argument. But over here, you are only talking about providing training. You are not talking about recruiting anyone. If you provide military training to those who are physically unfit, it may make them fitter. Those who are physically fit may actually need more physical exercise, more military training, etc. So argument 2 straight away becomes weak. It is not at all directly linked to the given statement. The statement is asking about whether military training should be made compulsory for all students. So, a strong argument over here would talk about the benefits that military training will bring to college and university students, which is what argument 1 does. A strong negative argument over here should talk about the damage that military training can cause to college and university students. But if I look at argument 2, it does not at all talk about any damage, any harm, any loss that military training can bring to college and university students. Hence, this argument argument 2 will definitely be considered weak. If argument 2 had said something like military training to students will occupy a lot of their time, will tire them out completely, and therefore would prevent them from learning their regular courses, their regular academic curriculum, and therefore the mental growth of students, the academic growth of students, etc. will suffer, then that would have been a very strong argument. But over here, military training should be given only to those. This does not at all talk about any harm from providing military training to college and university students. It is actually just an opinion presented. Military training should be given only to these people. Why? No such argument has been given. So argument 2 is not at all direct, is not at all relevant. Argument 2 is weak, 1 is strong. Now this question, this again talks about students' unions, etc. And over here, if I look at option 1, for the previous question, we were discussing how a strong argument a strong argument which opposes military training for students should talk about the damage that military training would cause to students. This is what argument 1 is doing over here. The question asks whether students' unions should be banned, should be abolished, and argument 1 over here directly talks about the harm caused by students' unions. It straight away says that these unions detract students from their academic and career development. Of course, in colleges and students in colleges and universities, for them education, academic career development is a major issue. That is the very reason for being in colleges and universities. So argument 1 is clearly strong. All great leaders have been students' union leaders. Well, even if all great leaders have been students' union leaders, there are other good leaders. Further, this argument does not at all say that if student unions are banned, no great leaders can be produced for any reason whatsoever. So far, you have had students' unions, and maybe great leaders have come from there. If such unions are banned tomorrow, great leaders will come from other areas. Hence, argument 2 is not at all strong. Argument 2 would be considered weak. should the age of marriage be raised to 25 years for boys and 21 for girls? No, it is difficult to change a social practice in Indian conditions. Please note this argument. This argument is talking about the difficulty in implementing an idea. Such arguments again are very common, and please note that in most cases such arguments will be considered weak. Why? Even if something is difficult to implement, if the benefits that accrue to me from that are very strong, then I would certainly say that that is a weak argument. Even if something is difficult, if it is desirable, if it is meaningful, then we need to work in that direction. Preventing crime is very difficult. Should we therefore legalize all crimes, or should we seek better policing and therefore better administration and therefore attempt to reduce crimes? If you talk about, say, changing social practices, the dowry system or the sati pratha or the caste system, there are so many social practices which are considered bad, which are considered evil. And even if it is difficult to change social practices in Indian conditions or in any conditions, is that sufficient reason for not attempting that at all? No, it is not. Even if something is difficult, if the benefits are strong, then it makes sense to try for that. Hence, argument 1 would straight away be considered weak. Do note that this is a typical kind of argument which talks about the difficulties in implementing some idea. Difficulty in implementing an idea need not necessarily make it a strong argument. If the benefits which come to us are very marginal, are very minor, then we may say that yes, difficulty in implementation can imply that this argument is strong and therefore we should not pursue this. But if the benefits are sufficient, or the benefits are reasonably good, then difficulty of implementation is not sufficient to make it a strong argument. By that age, people develop a sense of responsibility and also complete their education. Certainly, people who get into a marriage or any kind of formal relationship, they are expected to be responsible, they are expected to be mature. Further, if they have completed their education, then they would be better able to run their family, manage their own affairs. Hence, option 2, argument 2 rather, certainly is a strong argument. It definitely talks about direct benefits that will accrue if the age of marriage is raised to 25 years for boys, 21 for girls, etc. So, argument 2 will be considered strong, argument 1 is weak. As we discussed, there were 3 other questions of this type in this paper. Let us look at those questions straight away. Questions 146 to 149. Should judicial activism be discouraged? No, it would lead to executive dictatorship. If judicial activism is discouraged, how would this lead to executive dictatorship? There are 3 branches of the 3 pillars of governance: the judiciary, the executive, as well as the legislature. If judicial activism anyway talks about judiciary acting on its own, judiciary acting outside the strict word of the law, the strict letter of the constitution. Hence, if judiciary works within the dimensions set for it by the law, by the constitution, would that in any manner lead to executive dictatorship? That does not make sense. The constitutionally defined frame for judicial work for the judiciary should be good enough anyway to prevent dictatorship by any of the other branches, by legislature or even by the executive. Hence, argument 1 straight away becomes irrelevant, becomes weak. Yes, judiciary should stay in the constitutional limits. As we had discussed for a previous question, when it talked about no military training should be given only to those students who are physically fit. As we had discussed there, this just expresses an opinion. It does not give any reasons. Judiciary should stay in the constitutional limits. Why? This statement only gives us an opinion. It does not cite any benefits of this, any harm if this is not done. Hence, argument 2 also is irrelevant. It does not give any reasons, any benefits or any harms at all. It only expresses an opinion. Thus, argument 2 will also be wrong. Will also be weak. Sorry. So the right answer for this question will be both the arguments are weak. Should the judiciary be independent of executive and legislature? Yes, this is necessary to ensure impartiality in the administration of justice. Now, when we look at this, straight away we can say that this is a strong argument. Impartiality in administration of justice, that is certainly a very strong requirement. That is certainly a very strong benefit. This benefit would make the idea of judiciary being independent from executive and legislature a very desirable idea, a very desirable situation. Hence, that can come from judiciary being independent of executive and legislature. Why should your judiciary being independent of these two lead to inertia in this? We have no way of concluding this. Hence, the second argument is weak. The first one is strong. Should e-governance be introduced at every level of public administration? Yes, it will reduce corruption. No, it will lead to unemployment. Corruption certainly is a big issue. Unemployment again is a big challenge. Both the arguments here are strong. As we had discussed right at the beginning, the first one talks about a benefit, the second one talks about a harm, and the benefit is a very direct benefit that can result, and it is a strong benefit. Therefore, the first argument becomes strong. Similarly, the second one, it will lead to unemployment. This talks about a major harm, a major problem. Hence, this argument is also strong. Both arguments here will be strong. Should there be a world government? Yes, it will eliminate interstate conflicts. No, rich and powerful countries will dominate it. For this particular question, world government and elimination of interstate conflicts. This talks about, argument 1 talks about a benefit, but is a world government the only solution for eliminating interstate conflicts? We have organizations like the United Nations which already talk about elimination of elimination of interstate conflicts. They may not succeed always, but at least they are working in that direction. They are attempting in that direction. So world government need not be the only solution to eliminate interstate conflicts. A world government would imply a massive change from the existing system, from the existing setup. It would involve encroachment of independence of peoples. It will talk about infringement of peoples of various nations, various races, etc. Plus, it will take away sovereignty from each of the different nations. At the same time, the stated benefit over here, elimination of interstate conflicts, other organizations can very well look at it without causing those harms. Hence, argument 1, even though it may be directly linked, it would not be considered a very relevant one. It would be considered a weak argument. Rich and powerful countries will dominate it. Yes, this definitely talks about a few countries, a few nations benefiting from this, not all. And this therefore is a strong weakness in the suggested idea. It is a strong damage that can be caused. Hence, argument 2 is strong, 1 is weak. These then are the questions, the 10 questions of statement argument type which had appeared in the Clat 2012 paper. I hope by now all of you would have understood how to approach these questions. To summarize briefly once again, an argument which agrees with arguments typically are of two types. They will talk about harms, they will talk about benefits. If the harm is strong or if the benefit is strong and directly follows from the given idea, then and only then the argument will be considered strong. It has to be directly linked, it has to be relevant. Further, if some statement only presents an opinion, or if some statement talks about difficulty in implementing an idea, these generally will be considered weak. A mere opinion will always be considered weak. If an argument does not present any reason, then it cannot be a strong argument. It is not an argument at all, in fact. It is just an opinion. Difficulty in implementing an idea, if the benefit or the damage from not implementing the idea is strong, then if the benefit from implementing an idea is strong, or if the damage caused by not implementing an idea is strong, then difficulty in implementation cannot be a significant factor. Even if something is difficult to implement, it can be attempted slowly. It can be attempted over a period of time. Therefore, difficulty in implementation in general will always be weak. Be very careful, therefore, if you have an argument talking about this. This is it then for the first part of this session. In the subsequent parts, we will look at different question types. Thank you. We will primarily focus on questions on syllogisms, questions on deductive reasoning in this particular session. Over here, as you can see, instructions, questions 117 to 120, 4 questions. You are given, for these 4 questions, you are given 6 statements. The given options then talk about some set of 3 questions, some set of 3 statements out of these given 6 statements. Now, over here, choose the set in which the statements are logically related. This is what you have to do. For these questions, you have to consider that the third statement in the option. For example, if I look at option A, if I look at option A, 3, 4 and 5. Here, we have to consider that 2 and 4 are the facts which are given to us. 2 as well as 4 are the facts which are given to us. And option 5 is the conclusion that is being drawn. Now we need to test whether 5 is the right conclusion that can be drawn on the basis of facts, premises given in statements 2 and 4. This is all that we need to do for such questions. The right approach for such questions is to work through the options. Do not even waste your time looking at the statements directly. Just go through the options first and follow the statements given in the options, work through the options. For such questions, as for deductive reasoning questions, normally do remember that from general rules, you can very well come to specific conclusions. But from a specific conclusion, if you come up to a general conclusion, then that conclusion will only be a possibility, not a certainty. If I am given a statement like Ram wears a cap and I am further told Ram is a man, can we conclude all men wear caps? No, it will only be a possibility. All men may wear caps will be a valid conclusion, since we are talking about the possibility only over here. So from a specific, we cannot go to a certain general conclusion. Whereas if I am given the rule all men wear caps and Ram is a man, then I can very well conclude that Ram has to wear a cap, because every man wears a cap. So For deductive reasoning, the rule that, a very common rule that applies is keep from a general rule you can always come to a specific conclusion. From a specific conclusion, from a specific statement though, you cannot go to a general conclusion. The same principle will of course apply for these questions as well. As we discussed, the first two statements are facts, the third is the conclusion. Therefore, if I am given options 2, if I look at option A over here, it gives me statements 2, 4 and 5. This option will be different from an option which says 5, 4 and 2. If I am given 5, 4 and 2 over here, 2 is the conclusion being drawn on the basis of facts 5 and 4. Whereas in the given option, 2 and 4 are the facts and 5 is the conclusion being drawn. Be very careful regarding this particular point. Two options may include the same three statements, but if the order changes, then the relation will also change. The last statement will be the conclusion, the initial statements will be the facts. Now, if I look at solving this question, A gives us 2, 4 and 5. If I go for statement 2, X and Y do not quarrel. 4 says X and Y quarrel often. Now in this particular case, I can straight away see that 2 and 4 are contradictory. Hence, anyway, no conclusion can be drawn. We do not even need to look at option 5, statement 5. We can straight away reject option A. Just to confirm, if we want to discuss all those who quarrel are siblings, this is what 5 says. But 2 and 4 do not even tell us whether X and Y are siblings at all. Hence, 5 clearly does not follow. A will not be right. B gives us 1, 4 and 6. 1 says X and Y are siblings. 4 says X and Y quarrel often. Now this is talking about a specific example. As we discussed, this is talking about a specific example. X and Y are siblings. X and Y quarrel often. From this, can we conclude that all siblings have to quarrel often? All siblings may quarrel often. Some siblings quarrel often. These two conclusions will be valid. X and Y are one example of siblings, so it certainly follows that some siblings quarrel often from these two statements. 6 on the other hand says X and Y cannot be siblings. This directly contradicts fact 1, hence B is clearly wrong. B will not be the right answer. C, X and Y are siblings. Siblings are known to quarrel often. 4, X and Y quarrel often. Now this clearly follows. X and Y are siblings. This is one example of siblings. Siblings are known to quarrel often. This is the general rule. Since X and Y are siblings, this rule will apply even to them. Hence, X and Y quarrel often will be the right answer, will be the valid conclusion. Hence, option C is the right answer for this. Question 118, mangoes. Option A talks about 1, 2 and 3. I will not even bother to read the statements before looking at the options as we discussed. So 1, 2 and 3, that is what option A says. 1 says all mangoes are fruits, 2 talks about all mangoes are green. This implies that between fruits and green there is certainly some common area, but 3 talks about all mangoes are oval shaped. Statements 1 and 2, the facts 1 and 2 do not mention oval shaped at all. Therefore, the conclusion cannot mention any definite assertion about oval shaped. The given facts do not have any information about this at all. Option A is therefore easily rejected. B talks about 1, 4, 5. 1 says all mangoes are fruits. 4 says all fruits are sweet. Now here we have a general rule straight away. All fruits are sweet. All mangoes are fruits. From this we can clearly conclude mangoes will also need to be sweet. Hence, and 5 says all mangoes are sweet. B is clearly right. Option B will therefore be the answer. We don't even need to look at the other options. A, 1, 3 and 4. For question 119, A says 1, 3 and 6. Sorry, not 4. 1, 3 and 6. 1 says all frogs are amphibians. 3 says all amphibians are cold-blooded. Now this is straight away giving me a general rule. All amphibians are cold-blooded. Since frogs are amphibians, first statement has said that. Therefore we can conclude all frogs will also be cold-blooded. 6 clearly mentions that. frogs are cold-blooded. Hence, option A is the right answer. Option A clearly follows. I do not even need to look at the other options. This is the advantage of going by the option-based method for this type of question. You will not end up wasting any time if you do this. You will be able to solve your questions in the fastest manner if you use this approach. Okay, question 120, option A, 1, 2 and 6. 1 says some men are of short height. 2 says short-heighted men are intelligent. For this statement, short-heighted men are intelligent, it gives us a general rule. Some men are of short height. There are some men who belong to this category. Those men, we have been told, are intelligent. But 6 talks about all men are intelligent. The statement only says short-heighted men are intelligent. Are all men short-heighted men? We have no idea about this. Hence, A does not follow. 6 will not follow from facts 1 and 2. B says 3, 4 and 2. 3 says Sudhir is a man. 4 says Sudhir is of short height. 2 says short-heighted men are intelligent. Facts 3 and 4 talk about one man who is of short height. We do not have any information about whether this man is intelligent. Hence, can we conclude 2 which says all short-heighted men are intelligent? No, we cannot conclude this at all. We have no information. The facts do not give us any information about intelligent. Hence, B will not follow. C says 2, 4 and 5. Short-heighted men are intelligent. 4 says Sudhir is of short height. 5 says Sudhir is intelligent. Now, Clat has given this as the answer for this particular question. But if you notice, fact 4 only tells us Sudhir is of short height. We do not know whether Sudhir is a short-heighted man. Sudhir may be a short-heighted elephant, maybe a short-heighted horse, maybe a short-heighted giraffe, maybe a girl. We do not know what Sudhir is. Okay? Option C only talks about 2, 4 and 5. So 2 and 4 are the facts. 2 talks about short-heighted men. 4 only says Sudhir is of short height. We do not know whether he is a man. But if I look at option D, D anyway talks about 2, 4 and 6. Short-heighted men are intelligent. Sudhir is of short height. 6 says all men are intelligent. We have no information in statements 2 and 4 of all men. Hence, 6 will not follow from 2 and 4. Hence, option D is also clearly rejected. So, in option C, if we assume that Sudhir is, the name implies that Sudhir is a man, then option C will follow. Otherwise, this question would be considered erroneous. None of the options actually follows over here. If we go strictly by the rules of syllogism, by the rules of deductive reasoning, then simply because we are told Sudhir is of short height does not imply that Sudhir is necessarily a man. So even option C is questionable. Among the given options though, that is the best one. Hence C has been given as the answer for this. But please note, even C would not actually be considered correct. Questions 124 to 126. A few more questions here. These questions are again based on deductive reasoning itself, but they are presented in a different manner. Over here, 2 statements are given to you, then 4 conclusions are given. You have to assess which of the conclusions follow from the given facts. Statements 1 and 2 are the facts, and the 4 conclusions are already given. Now you have to look at which of the conclusions follow from the given facts. For these questions, ideally you should not go by the options. If you look at the options, A says only 1 follows, B says only 1 and 2 follows. So even if I look at one conclusion, even if I look at option A and I find that one conclusion follows, I still cannot rule out option B, I still cannot rule out option D. Option C of course gets ruled out, but B and D also are not ruled out. Hence, working through the options for this type of question is not meaningful. When the statements are fixed, when the facts are fixed and only the conclusions vary, then it makes sense to just read the facts first. Identify which all conclusions follow, then go by the options, see which of the options matches that, and then mark that as your answer. So over here, statement 1 says all girls are students, 2 says all doctors are students. From this, straight away, I can visualize that I have a set called students. All girls are students, all doctors are students, hence girls and doctors have to be subsets of this, have to be subsets of the set called students. But we do not know the relation between girls and students. Hence, it is possible that there is nothing in common between girls and doctors, as in this case, or it is possible that this is the set called students, girls, doctors, there may be some common area between the two. It is even possible that this is the set called students, girls may be the superset of doctors, or students, doctors, and girls may be the subset of doctors. These are the different cases which are possible. Now let us look at the conclusions that are given to us. All girls are students, conclusion 1. This is just a clear repeat of statement 1. This definitely follows. This information is already given to us. Hence 1 follows from the given facts. Some students are girls. If all girls are students, then obviously there is something common between these two sets. 2 clearly follows. Some students are doctors. If all doctors are students, again some students have to be doctors. All doctors are girls. As we have discussed, this case is possible but not certain. Other cases are also possible. There may be no link at all between girls and doctors, or there may be something common but not all girls may be doctors, or yes, all doctors may be girls. That case is also a possibility, not a certainty. Hence 4 does not follow. If 4 had said all doctors may be girls, if it had clearly mentioned that this is a possibility, then it would have followed. So only conclusions 1, 2 and 3 follow. That is option D. Option D will be the right answer here. All researchers are sociologists. Some researchers are professors. What would the diagram for this look like? This would be the set called sociologists. This would be the set called researchers. Some researchers are professors. So the set called professors could be something like this, where some of the professors are indeed researchers, but not necessarily all researchers are professors, and not necessarily all professors are researchers. These are the possibilities. All researchers are sociologists. Conclusion 1 now talks about all researchers are professors. As we have discussed, as we can see from the diagram as well, some researchers are professors. That information is available to us. Are all researchers professors? We do not know. 1 therefore does not necessarily follow. It is only a possibility, not a certainty. Some researchers are professors. This is clearly given in statement 2. Hence, this is definitely right. Some professors are sociologists. All researchers are sociologists, and some researchers are professors. So those researchers which are professors, even these researchers have to be sociologists, because every researcher has to be a sociologist. Hence, those researchers which are professors will also be sociologists. Hence, some professors are definitely sociologists. Hence, 3 also follows. Some sociologists are researchers, yes. If all researchers are sociologists, then certainly there is something common between these two sets. So 4 also follows. Now 4 also follows, but if you look at the options, none of the options mentions that 2, 3 and 4 follow. Clat at the NLUs, when they released the answer key for this paper, they have said that option B is the right answer. Option B, which says only 2 and 3 and only 2 and 4 follow. It seems they missed out that even option 3, even conclusion 3 clearly follows. So for this question, none of the option choices are correct. Question 126. Some democracies are dictatorship. No dictatorship is a monarchy. Straight away over here, if I draw the diagram, monarchy and dictatorship would be separate sets. Some democracies are dictatorship, hence democracy and dictatorship will have at least some overlap. No democracy is a monarchy. Does this follow? Conclusion 1. Those democracies which are not dictatorship, those democracies which are dictatorship, anyway they cannot be a monarchy because no dictatorship is a monarchy. So these democracies cannot be a monarchy, but the other democracies may very well be a monarchy. That case is possible. Hence, no democracy is a monarchy does not necessarily follow. No dictatorship is a democracy. This clearly contradicts statement 1. Statement 1 clearly says some democracies are dictatorship, hence this is also wrong. Some democracies are monarchy. As we discussed, this is a possibility, not a certainty. Some democracies may be monarchy, but we are not sure about this at all. This is not a certainty. Hence 3 also does not follow. 4 says some dictatorships are democracies. Yes, this clearly follows from statement 1. Hence 1 is correct. Hence conclusion 4 is correct. Therefore, the right answer for this will be option B. Only 4 follows. Question 127 to 129. 3 questions here. Again, these questions depend on deductive reasoning itself. The questions here are framed in fact in a form that makes it appear as though we are talking about things from real life, from general life. But again, please note, even for these questions, the same principles of deductive reasoning will apply, which means we should not make any assumptions on our own. We need to only stick to the facts given in the statement. For these questions, again, the facts are fixed. As you can see, statements 1 and 2 are fixed. The question then asks, assuming that 1 and 2 are true, which of the following statement follows? For these questions, do not waste your time looking at the options first. Instead, you have to look at the facts first. Once you read the facts, as you read the facts, straight away try to figure out which all conclusions will follow. Then look at the options, see which option matches that or is closest to that. That will be the answer. Cheese is bad for people with high cholesterol. Sumit does not eat cheese. These are the 2 statements given to us. Cheese is bad for people with high cholesterol. It may be bad for other people, may not be bad for other people. We do not know about other people. We are clearly told that it is bad for these people. It does not necessarily mean that it is not bad for other people. Yeah, it is good for other people. You have no information about that. Please be careful of this point. Further, Sumit does not eat cheese. We know cheese is bad for people with high cholesterol. Does it mean people with high cholesterol do not eat cheese? Even these people may or may not eat cheese. They may eat cheese sparingly, they may eat it in smaller quantities, or some of them may be careless, may still eat cheese. So Sumit does not eat cheese does not at all mean that it is bad for Sumit suffers from high cholesterol. Clat, though, for this question, Clat has given the answer as option C. People with high cholesterol do not eat cheese. This, again, as we discussed, this is an assumption. Actually, none of the options should be correct for this. The right answer should be option D. Cheese is bad for people with high cholesterol does not necessarily mean that these people do not eat cheese at all. Hence, option C is wrong. Sumit does not eat cheese does not imply that cheese is bad for Sumit. Sumit may not like the taste. For that reason, he may not eat cheese. He may even, for that matter, he may even be a poor person who cannot afford cheese. Or he may live in a place where cheese is not available at all. All of these cases are possible. We cannot at all assume that if Sumit does not eat cheese, it implies that cheese is bad for him. Sumit has high cholesterol. Again, as we have discussed, cheese is bad for people with high cholesterol does not at all tell us whether it is good or bad for others. So A also cannot be concluded. So ideally, D, option D should have been the answer. Question 128. Democrats are secularists. Which of the following statements, if true, would show that the above statement is false? This is a very common question type that appears in such exams. For this type of question, the right approach is read the statement, understand what the statement says, and in your mind, identify or frame that case which would negate this statement. Only after that, look at the options. If you look at the options first, if you look at the options before framing in your mind what would negate the given statement, then you are likely to get confused. To save time, read the statement and mentally frame exactly what would negate the given statement. Democrats are secularists. This tells me every Democrat has to be a secularist, which means if there is even one Democrat who is not a secularist, then the given statement is being contradicted, the given statement is negated. Hence, now if I look at the options, what option do I have to search for? I have to search for that option which gives the example of one Democrat who is not a secularist. That would contradict the given statement. If I look at option B, my father is a Democrat but he is not secularist. The given statement is being contradicted by this, by option B. Therefore, option B has to be my answer. Where there is a cloud, there is rain. This means every time there is a cloud, there has to be rain. So, if I know about a single case where there is a cloud but no rain, then I have clearly falsified the statement. I have clearly proved that the statement is wrong. Option A does exactly that. Sometimes there is cloud but there is no rain. Hence, this has to be the answer. This contradicts the given statement. Questions 133 to 135. This is another type of question which again involves syllogisms. Over here again two statements are given to you and the four options then present four different conclusions. You have to identify which of these conclusions clearly follow from the given statements. Over here, no athletes are, for this question, as we have already discussed, for such type of questions, since the statements are fixed, the facts are fixed. So, read the facts first, understand them, frame in your mind which conclusions follow, then look at the options. If you have any difficulty in judging a conclusion, in judging one of the conclusions, then what you can do is try and identify whether the option can be negated without contradicting the given statements. If the option can be contradicted without contradicting the given statements are facts, so the facts anyway cannot be contradicted. So, if the conclusion is not supported by the facts, then you should be able to contradict the option with the conclusion being suggested without contradicting the given statements. If you have difficulty, then that approach can also be used. We will discuss that approach as well over here. For question 133, no athletes are vegetarians, all players are athletes. No athletes are vegetarians, all players are athletes. If players are athletes and no athletes are vegetarians, then straight away it follows that players cannot be vegetarians. If I have to draw a diagram for this, what would the diagram look like? Athletes, players, and athletes and vegetarians are separate sets. So players and vegetarians have to be mutually exclusive sets. So no players are vegetarians. Option A clearly follows. Now, if I look at the other options, let's see whether we can contradict the other options. All players are vegetarian. Since no athletes are vegetarians and all players are athletes, this is clearly wrong. If a player is vegetarian and at the same time all players are athletes, then there will be some athletes who are vegetarian, which would contradict statement 1. Hence, option B clearly does not follow. If option B is correct, then the given facts are being contradicted. Hence, option B does not follow. Some players are vegetarian. Again, similarly, this would imply that at least some of the athletes, those athletes who are vegetarian players, will have to be vegetarians. So this again contradicts the given facts. This again does not follow. All vegetarians are players. All vegetarians are players. If I draw a diagram for this, the diagram would be something like this. Players and vegetarians and athletes. In this case, some of the athletes, these are vegetarians as well as athletes. This again contradicts the given statement that no athletes are vegetarians. Hence, option D again contradicts the given facts. Option D is again wrong. All persons who have done any creative work can be responsible critics. Everyone who has done creative work can be a responsible critic as per this statement. This does not mean, please note, that those who have not done creative work cannot be responsible critics. The given statement does not tell us that only persons who have done creative work can be responsible critics. Others can also very well be responsible critics. Therefore, Z has not done any creative work. From this, we cannot at all conclude whether Z may or may not become a responsible critic. Okay? Hence, all of the options, Z can be a responsible critic, can become a responsible critic, cannot be a responsible critic, cannot become a responsible critic, all the four given options are incorrect. All of them are only possibilities, none of them is a certainty. Clat has given the answer to this as option B, that is, Z cannot be a responsible critic. Please note, this assumes that instead of all, this assumes that the statement has said only persons who have done creative work can be responsible critics. If that is true, if that was the given statement, then if Z has not done any creative work, from this it would follow that Z cannot be a responsible critic. As of now, the given question would be considered incorrect. None of the given options are correct. One who has squared a circle is not a mathematician. Those who have squared circles are not mathematicians. If this is true, another way of phrasing this is that mathematicians will not square a circle, would never have squared a circle. This is what option A also says. No one who has squared a circle is a mathematician. This conclusion therefore follows. Option B says all non-mathematicians have squared a circle. The given statement says those who have squared circles, they cannot be mathematicians. Whether so, those who have squared a circle, let's say this is that set, and this is the set of those who are mathematicians. We know these two sets are separate sets, but are all those who are non-mathematicians, are all those people who have squared circles? We have no information about this. Those who are not mathematicians may not have squared circles or may have squared circles. Both cases are possible. Hence, option B can be contradicted. Some mathematicians have squared a circle. This clearly goes against the given statement. Option C is wrong. All mathematicians square a circle. This again contradicts the given statement. Hence, this is also incorrect. Question 136 onwards. Over here, we have been given one statement. We have been presented some reasons for this. For such questions, we have to identify, we have to try and understand whether in the normal course of circumstances, the given reasons will be the actual reasons which will cause the given statement, which will cause the action or event or incident which is mentioned in the given statement. And based on that, we need to identify which of the given options, which of the given reasons, suggested reasons are possibly correct reasons. Both of them, please note, may be the right reasons. It is not at all a case of where you have to judge which is more likely between the two to be the reason. You have to judge whether these two are possible reasons. So, Supreme Court of India is encouraging public interest litigation. Now, the Supreme Court of India is encouraging some particular cases to be filed. What can be the reason for this? Suggested reasons are to increase the reach of justice to the disadvantaged sections of society. Of course, this is a likely reason. This is very much a possible reason. If more cases of certain types are being filed, then it would mean that those who suffer in society, those who are disadvantaged, they may be filing more cases of that type. Hence, option 1, reason 1 is certainly a likely reason for this, a possible reason for this. To quicken the pace of justice. How do you quicken the pace of justice? By ensuring that investigation happens faster, that courts listen to cases faster and come out with their judgments, pronounce their judgments faster. These things can quicken the pace of justice. Merely more people filing cases of a particular type will not lead to quickening the pace of justice. Hence, reason 2 is irrelevant. Reason 2 is unlikely to be the reason for Supreme Court of India encouraging public interest litigation. Therefore, 1 is the correct reason for the statement. Option B will be right. Yoga has become a very popular exercise. These questions of this type, here you are given a paragraph. Again, use the information given in the paragraph alone. Use the same principles which you use for your syllogism type of questions. Do not assume anything on your own. The given paragraph, the information given in the paragraph itself has to justify any conclusion which can be drawn from there. You are not required to come up with any assumptions. If we start coming up with our own assumptions, 10 of us may come up with 10 different assumptions, and hence 10 different options may appear to be right. Over here, yoga can become a very popular exercise. It may not be for everyone, etc. This paragraph best supports the statement that yoga is more popular than high energy exercise. Has the paragraph at all given any comparison in terms of popularity between yoga and high energy exercise? No such information is given. Hence, option A is clearly negated. Option B talks about yoga is changing the concept of fitness. Has the concept of fitness been mentioned anywhere in the paragraph? We have no information about this. B, therefore, is also not supported by the paragraph. Yoga is a holistic fitness regime. Is that really the case? Again, the paragraph has not said any such thing. Option D also gets negated. The paragraph says evaluate your fitness requirement. The last line says evaluate your fitness requirement before joining yoga classes. C again says before opting for yoga, assess your fitness requirements. Option C is clearly supported by the paragraph. Hence, C has to be the answer. This would be an ideal approach for attempting questions of this type. Read the paragraph first, then go through the options and try to negate the options. Try to attack the options. If you find that some option is directly supported by the passage and therefore cannot be negated without contradicting the passage, then that option will have to be the right answer. Before opting for yoga, assess your fitness requirements. This is clearly mentioned in the passage. So this cannot be contradicted without attacking the passage. Hence, option C will be the right answer. Statistics, a paragraph on statistics. Data has power to mislead people. Words are more truthful than numbers. Does this follow? Has the paragraph at all mentioned any comparison in terms of truth between statistics or between words and numbers? No such comparison has been presented. Statistics is good for exposing reality, but it can also be manipulated to perpetuate untruth and misunderstanding. Data has power to mislead people. This is all that is being told, that we are being told. Hence, option A does not follow. Study of statistics is more important than any other discipline. Again, statistics has not been compared to any other discipline. Hence, option B also is incorrect. Numbers never lie. This clearly goes against the given statement, against the given paragraph. The paragraph says data has the power to mislead people. C is contradicting the paragraph. C is also wrong. D says numbers can be used to mislead people. Yes, this clearly follows from the last line of the paragraph. Hence, option D will be the right answer. Question 39, another question of the same type. Technology has developed out of stone tools which were used in ancient times. At first, the development of etc. etc. This paragraph best supports the statement that stone tools were not really technology. But over here we are clearly told in the paragraph technology has developed out of stone tools. So technology began from stone tools. Stone tools were not really technology. This does not follow at all. Option A is therefore negated. Option B, stone tools were in use in ancient India. The important part of this statement is ancient India. Has the paragraph given any information about ancient India? India specifically has not been mentioned anywhere in the paragraph. Option B therefore is again wrong. Today new technologies are developing at a fast pace. Yes, If we talk about tremendous growth in technology sector, this follows from this statement. The last statement of the given paragraph clearly supports option C. C will be the right answer. D says new technology has nothing in common with the stone tools. If you see options A and D, they are very similar. The given paragraph talks about technology has developed out of stone tools. So technology began with stone tools. But A and D says key stone tools and technology or new technology are somehow different. This contradicts information given in the paragraph. Hence A and D are wrong. This is it for the second part of this session on logical reasoning. We will take the remaining questions of this particular Clat paper in the third and final session for this particular third and final part of this particular session. Again, we will continue with the same process. We will discuss the right approach for these questions. Then we will look at the individual questions. Now, questions 121 to 23. 3 questions. Here 4 word pairs are given to us and we have to identify the right relation between, we have to identify which of the are different from the rest. Find the one which is different from the rest. This is what the question is asking us to do. Now, for this type of question, what you need to do is, the right approach here would be as you read each option, as you read each of the options, start by identifying the different from the rest. Here, as you use this approach, as you go through the options, if you find that for 2 of the options you are able to find a particular kind of relation, then the right answer, the option which is different from the rest, will have to be one of the other 2 options. So used by 2 of the options, you can then try to eliminate. You can then try and see which of them have similar relation, which of them do not have the similar kind of relation. For example, for this question, question 121, fast and slow, straight away I can see that these 2 words are opposites of each other. They are antonyms of each other. Bright and dark again gives me opposites of each other. Day, night, valley, depth. Now over here, straight away I can see that day, night again gives me similar opposition, similar antonymous relation, whereas valley and depth, a valley is a region which is at a which has a lower height, a region which is typically surrounded by mountains, etc. So valley and depth, to some extent they can be called synonyms. They are definitely not opposites, whereas day and night are opposites. Hence A, B and C are the 3 options which have a similar relation. D will be the right answer. D is the one which is different from the others. Body, hand, foot, ankle, eye, ear, wrist and finger. Straight away I can see fingers extend from our wrist. Finger is an extension from our wrist. Foot and ankle, ankle again comes at the end, towards the end of our feet, so our foot. So ankles again are an extension. Similarly, hands are limbs which extend from our body. Eye and ear on the other hand are completely unrelated in that sense. There is no extension over here. This therefore will be the opposite, the one which is different from the rest. This will be the odd one out. Option C will be the right answer here. Snake and frog, what is the relation between these 2? Snakes eat frogs. Goat and hen, is there any relation between these 2? We don't know. Dogs and cats, dogs will attack cats and will often eat them up as well. Tigers, they will attack deer and eat them up. Goat and hen, now we can clearly see, are the one which are the odd one out. Goats and hens, both are vegetarians. They will not eat, neither one will eat the other. Whereas in the other options, one of the animals, the first animal is the predator, the second animal is the prey. Hence, option B will be the right answer here. Okay, instructions for questions 130 to 132. Here we are given a brief paragraph some information has been given over here, and based on the given information, we have to answer the questions which follow. 3 questions are given based on this same paragraph. For such questions, ideally the given information should be tabulated, you should represent the information in a tabular form. A tabular form makes it much easier to understand the given information than the sentence, different sentences, than in the manner of the different sentences in which the information is given in bits and pieces. A table will arrange all of the information in one place, will make it much easier for you. So over here, we are told W and X, 4 friends, W, X, Y and Z are students of a particular class. Straight away then if I draw my table will look something like this. 4 friends, W, X, Y, Z. We are told that they are good in certain subjects, poor in certain other subjects. Which subjects are they good in? W and X are good in Hindi. This is what the first statement tells us. They are good in Hindi. At the same time, they are poor in English. Next statement says W and Y are good in science but poor in maths. So W is also good in science and poor in maths. Y again we are told is good in science, poor in maths. Y and Z are good in English but poor in social studies. So Y I would have to write English as well over here. Z will again be good in English and they would be poor in social studies, both of them. Z and X are good in maths as well as science. So for Z, science, he is good in science as well, for X as well as for Z. Science as well as mathematics. For both Z as well as X. There, my table is done. Now I can tackle the question straight away. Who among the following following friends is not good in maths but is good in Hindi? Now over here, as we can see, W is good in Hindi and is poor in maths. Option A. That straight away gives me the answer. Hence, option A will be the right answer for this particular question. The first option itself is correct. I don't even have to look at the other options. 131. Which of the following friends English and science? Again, looking at the same table, you can clearly see key out of these friends, W and X. Anyway, W and X are the 2 people about whom we know that they are poor in this thing. They are poor in English. So W being poor in English straight away implies that options A and B are eliminated. Now if we look at option C, Y and Z. Y and Z are good in English. The third statement clear. Looking at the table, we can then also see that Z is good in science and so is Y. Hence, Y and Z will be good in both of these subjects. Option C will be my answer. 132. Which of the following statements is definitely true? Y and Z are good in English as well as in Hindi. If we look at the table that we drew over there, Z good in Hindi, we have no such information. Hence, option 1 is rejected straight away. Option B says all 4 friends are good in science. Let us look at our table again. Yes, all of the 4 friends indeed are good in science. Hence, straight away we can say that the second statement here, the second option here is right. B will be the answer. So once we draw a table for this kind of set, we will find that we can easily solve the questions. It won't take any more time after that. Now, questions 140 to 144. 5 questions here. For these questions, we are given two statements. We need to identify which of them is the cause, which of them is the effect. Are they independent causes or independent effects, etc. For these questions, we have to look at the normal course of events. Here, for example, if we look at this event, the given statements talk about price of toys going down. Government has reduced import duty on toys. If I compare these two statements, if government reduces import duty on toys, then certainly this will lead to lower prices for toys. So 2 will be the cause and 1 will be the effect in the normal course of events. Prices of toys going down can happen for multiple reasons. There can be many reasons for this. Prices of raw materials may go down, the market demand may go up, because of which production may go up, because of which economies of scale may come in. Any number of reasons can happen. Any number of reasons can be there. But in the normal course of events, will the given statements have any relation between the two? That is all that we have to look at. We do not have to consider other possibilities. We only have to consider what will happen in normal cases. In normal cases, if the government reduces duty or taxes on something, then yes, it will certainly lead to reduced prices. Hence, over here, the right answer will be 2 is the main cause and 1 is the main effect. Option 1 or option C will be the right answer here. Inflation rate in India has come down. Reserve Bank of India has increased interest rate. In the normal course of events, if interest rates rise, then money supply is going to come down and therefore yes, inflation rate will come down. So again, 1 is the effect and 2 is the cause. In the normal course of events, this is what should happen. Once again, if I look at other possibilities, yes, inflation rate can come down for multiple reasons. We do not have to consider those other reasons. We only have to look at whether in the normal course of events there is any relation at all between the given events, between the given statements. If there is any cause-effect relation between the given, if there is any likely cause-effect relation between the given statements, then that will be the right answer. Hence, again, option C over here, 2 is the cause, 1 is the effect, will be the right answer. More and more students are opting for legal education. Bar Council of India has introduced bar examination. If more students opt for a legal education, first of all, will this be the cause? Will this be an effect? More and more students are opting for a particular exam. Is this going to be an effect or is this going to be a cause? This can be a cause, can very well be an effect as well. Both possibilities exist. We cannot directly state any such thing. Bar Council of India has introduced something, has done something. This will be the end result of something. This will be the effect of something. Hence, the second statement is an effect. That much can be concluded straight away. Now, we have identified which of these statements is most likely to be an effect. Is there a cause and effect relation between the two in the normal course of events? If more and more students are opting for a particular field of study, is that likely to lead to some exam being introduced in that field? It may happen, it may not happen. There is no cause, there is no direct cause involved over here. Introduction of bar exam. What can be the likely reasons for this? Likely reasons for this can be a need to improve the quality of people in a particular field, or the need to standardize selection process and so on. But more and more students opting for a particular field of study is not likely to be the cause for introduction of a particular exam. Hence, the right answer here for question 142 will be option D. 2 is clearly an effect, but 1 is not the main cause. D will be the right answer. Sea level is steadily rising. Global warming is a serious problem which the world is facing. Clearly over here, global warming is the cause and sea level rising is the effect. Therefore, 2 is the main cause, 1 is the main effect. Option C will be the right answer. Sea level can rise for other reasons as well, but among the given two statements, It will be the effect of global warming. Financial institutions are largely unregulated. Today, the world is passing through a serious phase of economic crisis. Because financial institutions were largely unregulated, there was a collapse. There was a bubble which formed in the market, the subprime bubble, and the collapse of that bubble led to reduced growth in many parts of the world and even outright recession in some parts of the world. Hence, 1 is the cause and 2 is the main effect. Option 1 will be the right answer. Himalayan sparrows are disappearing. This bird is an Indian bird, therefore Indian birds are disappearing. This is the argument given to us. We have to find out the parallel argument from the given list of subsequent arguments. Subsequent arguments, please note, they need not have any relation at all to the given argument. They need not have any relation to the any direct relation to the given argument. All that you have to look at, all that you have to identify is whether they follow similar pattern of logic, whether the flow of logic is similar in the given argument as well as in one of the subsequent arguments. That argument which has similar flow of logic will be the right answer. Himalayan birds are disappearing, so over here we are being told there is a set called Himalayan sparrows. These are disappearing. We are further told that Himalayan sparrows are Indian birds. Therefore, the conclusion is that Indian birds are disappearing. Now over here we are talking Himalayan sparrows are Indian birds. This implies that Indian birds is a superset of Himalayan sparrows. Himalayan sparrows will be the subset. Now, industrialists pay most of the taxes. Z is a wealthy man. A talks about industrialists. B talks about wealthy man. What is the relation between industrialists and wealthy man? We have no such information. Hence, argument A clearly does not follow the same pattern of logic. A, therefore, will not be the right answer. A pineapple is a fruit. A mango is a fruit. Here, we are given one set called fruits. There is another set called mango. There is another set called pineapple. What is the relation between mangoes and pineapples? We have no information. Therefore, pineapple is a mango cannot be concluded at all. B also does not have the similar type of logic. Snow tigers are an endangered species. All endangered species must be protected. We know snow tigers are an endangered species. So, if this is my set called endangered species, snow tigers will be a subset of this. All endangered species must be protected. Hence, protected becomes the superset here, and therefore snow tigers also must be protected. This argument is logically correct. Option C has been given as the right answer by Clat. But please note, this follows different logic from the logic that is given. So again, for this question, none of the arguments are actually correct. If I look at the given argument, as we discussed, Himalayan sparrows are disappearing. This bird is an Indian bird. So, Indian bird is the superset of Himalayan sparrows. Now, the set called disappearing need not be the superset of the set called Indian birds. The set called disappearing may simply be may simply have some elements of Indian birds within it, but not all. So, the given argument actually does not follow correct logic. Hence, the right argument for a parallel argument question, please note, the question is asking for parallel argument. It is not asking for correct argument. Hence, the right option should again have followed a similar pattern of flawed logic. A similar pattern where we have arrived at a general conclusion from a specific example. So, option C will not be the right answer for this question. However, none of the other options have the similar pattern of logic, and Clat has given this as the answer. But even this would not be right. So just understand the process that has to be followed for a question of this type. This question, the given question is wrong. We have not looked at option D. If I just look at option D quickly, John is his father's favorite son. John knows this must be true because his father told him this. No father would lie to this. Over here, the first option, the first part of the argument, option D, is the one which is the conclusion, and the later part gives us the reason behind this. So this anyway clearly follows a different pattern of logic from the given argument. Hence this also cannot be the right answer. 146 to 149 we have already discussed. Let us come to the last question in this set, question 150. Here we are given a statement. Now we have to judge another statement on the basis of the first statement. The first statement, what does the first statement tell us? Some philosophers believe that a concept which cannot be verified can still be valid because of its inner logic, which ennobles it. Ennobles means to make something nobler, to make something better. So over here, the first statement essentially tells us that even if something cannot be proved, it may be correct if its inner logic is meaningful, if its inner logic is good. Now if I come to the given question, the given statement, every person has certain inherent and inalienable rights which must be protected by rule of law. Yes, our constitution does talk about fundamental rights, etc. So every person certainly has certain rights, what we can call human rights, what you can call fundamental rights, etc. So the given statement, yes, the inner logic over here is definitely sound, is definitely correct. Hence, this argument will be true. In light of the given statement, inner logic itself can imply that some statements are true. That straight away implies option A will be the right answer here. This then brings us to the conclusion of our session on logical reasoning. We have looked at the different types of questions that you typically encounter in logical reasoning section for most of the exams, for most of the law entrance exams. For any questions, feel free to contact us here at CL. We'll always be there to guide you. Thank you. All the best for your exams. Thank you.